Welcome, fellow survivalists and survivalists to be. I am Werewolfen, and this is 7 Days to Die, a first-person shooter survival zombie apocalypse game by Fun Pimps. And today we are going to be showing you how to survive the zombie apocalypse. We're going to go into Game of Homes server group, their new server 3, and we are going to start from day one, and I'm going to show you how to get started, what you need to look for, what things you need to do in your first day in the game to try to survive and not get killed, and some of the basics to get started. So welcome, join me, and hope you enjoy this video. And there we are, Game of Homes. As you can see, Game of Homes has 4 servers. 3 servers are PvE, and 1 server is PvP. We're going to be playing on Game of Homes PvE 3. And here we are, brand new to the game. And good friend Slender Green is on here. Here in server 3, so you see as we start out, we've got 1 water, 1 food, 1 bandage, and 1 claim block. When you first start out, make sure you put at least your claim block in your main backpack, because on Game of Homes, when you die, you lose the items on your belt, and they go into a death bag. And if you should get killed, all you got to do is hit M, scroll around the map, which you can just click on it, left click on the map to scroll it around. And if you know approximately where you died, you can scroll to that area, and you'll see a green backpack on the map where you died. If you think you had some stuff in your backpack that was worth going and retrieving, you can make your way back to that location and pick those items up from your death pack. So here we are. So we're going to want to look around. No zombies currently. Ah, a hollow tree. Hit E to see what's in it. Ah, some painkillers. If you hit R, it will retrieve everything from the container you're looking at. Obviously somebody's been here. Currently, the game, all containers except cars will respawn. So once a car's been looted, it'll never have looted it again. We're starting out pretty late in the day, so one thing you're going to want to do is punch you some grass. Pick that up. Punch you a bush. Bushes, depending on where you're at, look different. They'll be black or green or just like a bunch of sticks. And then you're going to want to pick up one of these rocks. Then you're going to hit I to open your crafting inventory. And as you can see, you've got a 5x5 crafting grid along with a list of categories on the right. And as you see, you click on them, they'll open up what's in that category. We're going to want to make a plant fiber. So if you click on plant fiber, it'll tell you it takes 1 grass. So you put your grass in there and hit craft. We'll take that out. Then we're going to click on, we want a sharp stone also. So it takes 1 stone. Okay, well now that we've got that, we're going to want to go down to tools and traps. and we're going to want to make a stone axe. As you see, it shows you what you need and where to put it. And now we have our starting first weapon. As you see, it makes breaking grass a lot faster. You're going to want to gather up some grass because I'm going to show you how to make a bed, or a sleeping bag as it were. Always check these nests. Eggs ain't so great. I don't keep eggs, but in the nest you can also find feathers. You're also going to want some more small stones. And now that you have an axe, a good way to get those is these big rocks. Just hold E and it'll draw everything into you. And then we're going to want to get some wood. Unlike other sandbox games like Minecraft, don't try to punch wood. You'll be here quite a while. Always make you a stone axe to get started, because it will greatly speed up your harvest. Now you noticed we got a pine seed. We'll save that for later. We can plant trees, so we have a ever-growing supply of trees. Some other things you noticed we got from breaking that rock: we got more small stones, we got lumps of coal, potassium powder, iron fragments. If you notice down on our minimap, we got this green dot. That is a zombie. And when you're out in the world, most zombies will show up there, except for what's called a crawler zombie. Those guys usually will not show up on your minimap because they don't make much noise until they get real close to you. As long as you don't have something with a smell factor, like raw meat, some of the cooked foods from the meat, as long as they're not too close to you, you're usually pretty fine. They won't notice you and come running after you. And now that it's coming on night, they will run. We're going to head south, because usually I like heading to the area called Gravetown to start out. The big reason why is there's usually a lot of containers with weapons and other stuff that is good to have early on down in Gravetown. That, and as a whole, people usually do not like to go to Gravetown. Only about less than a third of players tend to go to Gravetown. If you're wondering why I'm picking up something that seems rather useless like an air filter, is on the Game of Home server we have a lot of custom recipes. Two of those recipes are the auger and the chainsaw, both of which need an air filter to make. Wow, we're gonna have plenty of air filters. Wow, we're on day 16 and a car that somebody hasn't looted. I'll leave that cat food for somebody else, because cat food's kind of nasty, doesn't help a lot. Although the white labeled canned foods are pretty good. Metal purr. So even if I have extras. Ooh, moldy bread. Moldy bread by itself will harm you, but if you have a beaker and combine it with potassium nitrate, you can make antibiotics in case you get the plague. If you're moving around at night like I am here, definitely want to keep an eye on your radar, because if you get too close to zombies, well, they're going to chase you. This is a coal patch. They can be found in the burnt zone, which is a stripe across the map. Coal is good for later on, fueling it's the best fuel source for campfires, fireplaces, and stuff like that. Since we're clear over on the east side of the map, rather than try to get over to Gravetown, I'm going to head over to Old Town, which is this area over here on Old Mold Road. There's quite a few places in there that have some good loot. Now that we've gotten a few feathers, let's get some sticks. We're going to make our first weapon. So we're going to take some of this grass. And we're going to make it into plant fibers. Then we're going to go to ammos and weapon. Don't think we have enough. A lot of people hide early on in their first night. You don't really need to, as long as you keep zombies a reasonable distance away from you. Okay, now under our weapons and ammo, we have the crossbow. So we'll let that make up while we get some more sticks, because we're going to need sticks to make our crossbow bolts. Okay, so now we have our crossbow. We'll put that there. And we're going to turn, we've got 14 sticks, so we're going to turn all these small stones into sharp stones. Because you need sharp stones for the crossbow bolt. Early on, the desert's a good place to watch for birds' nests. They're a lot easier to see. And there we are. Another car that hasn't been looted. Rather crappy loot in it, but it hasn't been looted. Now, we're not going to want to go into Old Mold Town at night, because it tends to have a lot of zombies in it. Day starts on, at 7:30. That's when zombies stop running, so you can kind of get close to your target before then. So while we're waiting, we'll make our crossbow bolts. And now that we've made one, you'll notice it went green, and we can just shift click on it and it'll make all that we can make. Since we only have 13 sharp stones, it'll only make 13. Now if you notice, if you hit control, you go into controlled crouch. It locks you into crouch mode. It zooms in your radar, but you make no noise, making you less likely to be heard by zombies as you move about. If you hold shift while you do it, you'll like speed crouch, and this will help you move a little faster while crouched, but it also makes a little bit more noise. Don't bother picking up the gunpowder. You can always make gunpowder fairly easily. As you can see what I mean by zombies. And a lot of times if you crouch, they won't hear you. So unless they turn and see you, you can practically walk right up to them. And we're going to want to wait until the sun comes up so that when we shoot this guy, he ain't going to run at us. I stand up so I can move and get a better crosshair. Notice the red dot. We're going to reload our crossbow. Must have missed his head that first shot. Normally, if you right click to unzoom, and he didn't have much of anything on him. And this is why we came to Old Mole. Death safes and stand-up safes are always good to find. Hit R to take all of that. This sawed-off shotgun is only good for very close range. And since we don't have a lot of ammo. Right here's a jail, and there's a safe in the jail that we're going to want to get to. And what we're going to do is kind of break our way in. Fortunately, with a stone axe, it's kind of slow. And to kind of protect ourselves, we're going to put that back. And what that'll do is that'll keep zombies from being able to reach straight down to us. So if one does happen to come up on us, we can just turn around and shoot him without him being able to hit us right away. Now, as you notice, the safe creaks when you start to open it. That is rather noisy, and if there's zombies nearby, it'll get their attention to come towards you. But that's okay, because we're kind of protected. And as you notice, my stone axe is getting pretty worn out. You can repair basic tools. Depending on what type of tool it is what it needs to repair it. A good headshot will take those guys out usually. We're going to take this bed because, well, bed is your spawn point. Either a bed, a sleeping bag, either one works. If at any time you guys have any questions on the live stream from my live streamers, please feel free to ask. If you're in spectator mode, please feel free to sign in to Twitch and ask the questions. One of the other things we're looking for out here are these books. As you can see, if you mouse over, this is leather training. This teaches you how to use leather. You just put it in your hand, right click with it. And we have two of these. See, it won't let us read it again. So we can just get rid of that. And because I have so many weapons, I'm going to put these extras. In my crafting grid, hit craft and turn them into scrap iron. And while it's crafting, you can add more to it. We don't really need a second rifle. We've got a nice long-barreled shotgun, a hunting rifle, and a pistol, which we have a little bit of ammo for each of those. Like I said before, even if you're not going to keep it, loot everything so that the container can respawn loot. And on the Game of Home servers, which we're on, loot respawn is set to 4 game days. I'm going to break this up because I want some more small stones to repair my stone axe. And we're going to need some more later on anyways, when we go to make our campfire and our forge. Which, to make the forge, if you've seen my other YouTube tutorial, you're going to need a small iron pipe. Because I don't want, put that there because I don't want zombies dropping in behind me and smacking me in the back. That will keep them from beating on the back of my head while I'm trying to break through this floor to get at the safe that's in here. If you notice in chat, the Jarl Gray, he is the owner of the Game of Home servers and our chief admin. Thanks to him, the Game of Home servers have quite a few custom recipes from the augers and chainsaws to some of the other things. And see, here's the nice thing about these frames is because we've broken it, we can get at this gun safe without having to break all the way in.
Ooh, am I going to be famous? Hello, all you viewers. I did see one of your followers, Patty, was here yesterday.
So here we go again. If you noticed, if you get a good headshot, it pretty much takes them down. Most zombies don't handle a good headshot, especially with a shotgun. Empty jars are good for getting water, but more importantly, we need at least one empty jar for when we set up our forge so that we can make our own jars and be able
I'm
to.
surprised the water tower hasn't been broken yet.
Yeah, I don't think too.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, we're not going to hang on to the cloth because we can make cloth, but brass is a rare commodity. We're going to have a good bit of arrows there. There's supposed to be a couple more safes here in Old Mole, and we're going to try to find them. Because if nothing else, we can use the ammo. And of course, bread is always good to have. And all the empty brass casings we can find are also always good to have.
I might increase the zombies again because there's nothing really left on the map.
For those of you who don't know, I am an admin on the Game of Home servers, although for this particular server I'm trying to refrain from using any of my admin abilities because I want you to see how the game is played as a player. Decisions. Well, we don't need those for right now. We will want to keep the Magnum cylinder for later. And we'll turn all these extra weapons into scrap metal. There we go. So now we've got a lot of the basic stuff we're going to need to get started in 7 Days to Die. We've got scrap metal, we've got empty jars, we've got a little bit of food and water to help get us around. Any brass you find is always good to have for later on when you can start making ammo. Unfortunately, right at the start of the game, you cannot manufacture or weapons or ammo. You have to find more of the books like you've seen earlier. Specifically, you need to find the book Ammunition Nation, as well as to make the 9mm, 10mm, and 7.62 ammo. To make shotgun ammo, you need to find the book called Reloading Weekly. And once you can make the Magnum or have a Magnum, you need the book, the Enforcer magazine book. So we're going to head further down. Try to avoid zombies to conserve ammunition till you can make your own, because early on you're kind of stuck with what you can find. Oh, this is a nice one. What don't we need? Currently don't need books. We can definitely use the ammo. And I won't need this extra stick. So we'll get rid of that. Once you open a supply crate, it breaks. So anything in it will fall on the ground that you don't take. Ah, yes. Normally this is a junkyard, but thanks to our admin Dilrax, he built this big complex here. So this is nice on our server. You get to see what one of our special pre-builds is. And it's got even more goodies in it than the junkyard that's normally here. Got to make room for the tuna. Those of you who know Invader Zim will recognize that reference. And that's what a death bag looks like. And apparently whoever it is didn't have anything on their tool belt. That's what I was looking for. You got a character, put it on your head, hit F, and you've got a flashlight. I eat my sham to give me a little more health and free up some of my inventory. There we go. Now we're out of this. We're gonna go find us someplace to build our home. I will say I don't typically like to live in the desert. The ground's too soft. Zombies dig through it too easily. Although before we leave the desert, we're going to pick us up a little bit more sandstone, which you can see down there on my 8-bar, which will be used to make the bottles so that we can have an unlimited supply of water. I personally like to build my starting house near water, and you'll see why here shortly. It gives a unique advantage at being able to hide your base, which isn't such a big deal on a PvE server, but is an absolute must on a PvP server, especially early on. So we're going to go over here by the river, and not too close to somebody else. Some of you may want to hook up with other players on a multiplayer server in order to make like a defensive community, and that's good. But in a lot of cases, due to griefers and people wanting to cause problems, most people will not trust a new player when they when they first join the game. So when you first start playing on a server, you're probably going to have to live by yourself until people start to trust you. This is Dyersville up here. A lot of cabinets and stuff to loot there, but it is a very popular place that people like to loot. So it tends to be looted quite extensively. A lot of times it's hard to find loot in Dyersville. Up here at Coronado, there's an old farmhouse and a barn and large cornfields. So it's a good place early on to get you some corn to start building your own farm, which we will probably do in a later episode of this series. But we're going to start out. I'm going to take the little corner of this bend in the river, and right here at the edge of the water, I'm going to crouch down so I can see the bottom. Oh, so much stuff, so much stuff. We're going to block off this little corner real quick. I know you're probably saying, oh, Airwolf, and you can't get out of that hole. Well, when I'm done, we'll be able to get out of this hole just fine, and most players won't know you're even here. What I was doing there, I'm picking up the clay, and I do that for a reason. We're going to need the clay here shortly. I ain't too worried about the dirt. Okay, now we've got a little hole dug out under here. To help us get started a little faster, I'm going to make a nook here to put my forge in, which we're going to make our forge now. Okay, as you can tell, we don't have enough stone to make a forge, which is why I kept the one stone. Takes 8 stone and a small pipe to make a forge. Which the recipe for is under forging and molds. So as you see there, forge. And get rid of it in 1 block. We'll keep our sand. Now, one of the first things you want to do, you want to take some of your clay and make it into lumps of clay. And you need the lumps of clay to make your molds. We're going to make various molds, but to start out, we need to get our lumps of clay. One of the first molds you're going to want to make is the iron mold. And of course, we'll drop that for a second. Put your iron mold in there, and then put your scrap metal. And pick everything else back up. Okay. So now we've got a few things I need to eat. As you can see, peas don't help you a whole lot. We're going to take the logs that we got early on and turn them into planks of wood. And while that's doing, we're going to make a little recess up here. And then we're going to want to make a storage chest. Now, all these recipes that I'm doing, you can find in this list. And when you click on them, like say the brass mold, it'll show you what you need and in what shape you have to put it. So there's no need to go hunt down a wiki or whatever to figure out all the molds. Any recipe, including custom recipes that are loaded onto a server, will show up in this list somewhere. It's just a matter of getting an idea of where things are. Initially, it'll be white, which means you've never made it, but you do. If it's bright white, it means you do have the materials on you to make it. If it's a dark white, it means you do not have the materials. Same thing with dark green. Dark green means you've made it once, but you don't have the materials to make it again. If it's bright green, you've made it before and you have the materials to make it. And when it's dark green, you can click on it and it will auto-fill for you. If you hold shift click, it will make as many of this as you have the materials to make. So we're going to make a secure storage chest. And we're going to put it in our little house. Now as you notice, it says to hit E to use. You just hold E and open it up. Usually when you make these, they'll have a cobweb in them. Get rid of that. Don't really need it unless you want to use them later as a trap to slow down zombies. And we're going to put some of our extra stuff in here. We're going to take our lumps of coal and we're going to put them in here because that's a fuel source, and we're going to start smelting down some of our iron. And then we're going to take some more of our sticks. We're going to need 12 of them, or our planks. Put them in the center and it makes sticks. We're going to need 12 of those. And now we're going to secretize our base. Yes, I made that word up. What do you mean my resolution's messed up? No, I think I'm gonna have to stop the stream and restart it. Give me a second, guys, and I'm gonna stop this and restart it and see if we can't fix that problem. Okay, I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. I'll have to play with it later and see if I can't get it working right. And of course my stream wants to run a video. But while you guys are waiting for it to kick back in, I'm just going to let this cook. And you can't really see it, but as you hear, water is in this tunnel. And because I dug it one down, it keeps it from coming into my little base and essentially hides the entrance to my base. And I'm going to make a door so that this gets hidden. And now we have some iron. Make some more sticks so that we can Banks, I really enjoy the game. I've got over 1,000 hours on it. Although it is still in alpha, uh, it's a pretty good game, and it's getting better slowly. Um, it's still got a long way to go based on what the Fun Pimps say they want to do with the game. But overall, I would say it's a pretty good game. No, you don't need really high specs. Although lower spec computers, especially on video cards, tend to be a bit more laggy, but there are ways to minimize that lag. If you go into your video settings, if you realize you're having a lot of game side lag, go into your video settings, turn off shadows, as torch and firelight shadows tend to cause a lot of lag on lower spec systems. So now that we have a pickaxe, we can dig into the stone a lot better and get ourselves deeper and harder for zombies to get at us. Now, as this server has friendly fire turned on, so you have claim blocks, and the purpose of a claim block is it protects a area around the claim block, depending on how the server's set. Here on Game of Homes, it's set to 29 by 29, which means it will protect an area 14 blocks in each direction from the claim stone, from sky ceiling to bedrock. And what that does is it increases the durability of all blocks, whether they be world blocks or blocks you place. It multiplies the base durability of the block by 256, which is the setting on this server. Some servers it's set lower. On Game of Homes it's set to its maximum. But this only affects players. You have got to be kidding me. Somebody has a claim block near here. And that hat I found earlier, the mining hat, we got a light because our fire has gone out. And we're going to sit out the day. Yeah, definitely. They've been putting in a lot of work. The last patch added a lot of good stuff to the game. Yeah, King. I'm gonna have to figure out later what's doing with that. I don't have a lot of time this morning to fuss with it and figure out why it's being a pain in the butt. It may have to do with the fact that I started in Windows mode and it's not liking that. But I'll figure it out, and later on we won't have that black border. But overall, I really enjoy the game. Like I said, I've got over 1,000 hours gameplay. I've been playing since Alpha 5.8 or 5.9. There's been a lot of changes to the game since then. The Alpha 7 series, they added the smoothing, terrain smoothing. Had a bunch of problems with that early on, but they finally got that sorted out for the most part. And as time goes on, the game's just getting better. Um, More things are becoming craftable from Fun Pimps. Um, it's just there's a lot of good gameplay here. The latest patch added in anti-cheat software using the Valve anti-cheat system, which seriously helped cut down on hackers, griefers, and just general cheating. Uh, in case you're wondering, I'm waiting for the day to come up, but basically that pretty much covers everything you need to do to get started on a first day. Um, and Had I not been in somebody else's claim block range, you would have been able to put your claim block down in here, and it would protect your little base, making it harder for other players to break into your base and steal what you have spent your hard work gathering. Basically, we've made it through an entire day of 7 days to die. And the last thing you'd want to do on a base like this is carve you out a little area to place your bed down so that if you die, you can spawn back at your base instead of spawning at a random spawn point around the world. So that I'm gonna cut the recording off here, and then I will be logging out of server 3 and going over to one of my other servers for the remainder of the live stream. But thanks for watching the first day, and keep tuned. I will be adding more to this video series on my YouTube channel, Werewolf in 1369, probably tomorrow.